In the movie Prey, a plane crashes in Africa, leaving survivors to face wild animals and terrorists. Dr. Andrew, an American doctor, tries to save his wife after their plane goes down as she was hurt badly. While he struggles with grief and fear, they encounter dangers and tough choices. As they fight for survival, they must rely on each other and hope for a way to escape the dangers around them. Can they find safety in this wild land? At the beginning of the film, Dr. Andrew, an American, looked very sad because one of his patients died from heart failure. A colleague approached him and said there was a terrorist group in the area that wanted to catch Americans, and they found out he was there. Hearing this, Dr. Andrew went to find his wife, who was a teacher with a kind heart. She taught African children and wanted to help people. He told her they had to leave because the terrorist group would kill them. However, his wife insisted they could fix things. She asked if they could talk to the terrorists and help them understand. Maybe the situation would improve. Andrew replied that his medical equipment had been stolen and that one of his patients had died, so things in Africa would never get better. He believed it was best for them to leave. They left and arrived at a small airport in a nearly empty village in the desert. There was only one plane there, and it was not in good condition. The greedy pilot wanted to take many people and their belongings. Another American passenger also wanted to leave. There were 3 of them, including a man named Max and his 2 friends. Before leaving, Andrew's wife said goodbye to her African friend. She felt sad and told him she was sorry they had to leave because of the terrorists in their country. Andrew then went to the pilot, whose name was Gran. Gran, being greedy, asked for a lot of money. Andrew recognized Gran and reminded him that he was the same pilot who was supposed to bring medical equipment. He explained that many of his patients died because of Gran's failure to deliver the equipment. He also mentioned that the items meant for America were stolen. Andrew spoke to Gran about how this was not right and how it harmed humanity. Both Andrew and his wife cared deeply for others, hoping their words would reach Gran and inspire him to change for the better. The plane could not hold much luggage, so the greedy Gran told them again that they paid him only for the flight, not for the baggage. Therefore, they could not take the stuff. However, after the passengers asked repeatedly, he finally agreed. He said they could take their belongings but had to keep them in their laps. Everyone settled into the plane. The conditions inside were quite bad, but they had to leave. If they missed this flight, they would have to wait a week for the next one. They wanted to avoid staying there because they faced a terrorist group on one side and dangerous animals from the African jungle on the other. As soon as the plane took off, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Everything seemed fine at first, but suddenly the plane began to shake. The passengers asked Gran what was happening, and he reassured them that there was nothing wrong. He claimed to have flown many planes before and insisted they stay calm. Dr. Andrew, feeling angry, stepped forward and said he knew Gran was greedy. He believed that the heavy baggage was causing the plane to shake. If this continued, the plane might break apart. Gran dismissed his concerns, telling him to just sit quietly and let him do his job. Moments later, the shaking worsened, and a fire broke out. The plane sped toward the ground. Within seconds, it crashed. Some passengers died in the wreck, while the survivors were injured. Andrew got up and looked at the burning debris around him. Max survived along with another boy, but Max's friend did not make it through the crash. Andrew found his wife, who was in terrible shape. She was stuck under the luggage and badly hurt, with a broken leg. He tried to free her, but she was trapped too tightly, and he could not pull her out despite his efforts. Gran then said she would not be able to escape and advised Andrew not to force it. He suggested that Andrew should remove the luggage and, if his wife was in pain, to give her some alcohol. Andrew became angry and replied that he did not like those ideas. He told Gran to be quiet and leave him alone. He knew what to do, and he blamed Gran for the situation they were in. Next, they buried their friend's body near the plane to keep wild animals from eating it. Then, they looked around to see where their plane had crashed. They discovered that they were in a very dangerous place where wild animals lived. They believed they would be safe during the day, since the jungle was like a desert. The heat made it hard for animals to hunt. However, they knew that as soon as it got dark, it would be hard to escape, so they needed to act quickly. Without Dr. War, Andrew, the 3 others made a plan to walk to a nearby village, which was about 20 to 30 kilometers away. Gran said they should head southeast to find the village. Max disagreed, insisting they should go southwest because he believed the village was in that direction. Gran ignored him. Since Gran had a gun, he became the leader and told everyone that if they wanted to stay alive, they should follow him. He urged Andrew to join them, but Andrew refused, wanting to stay with his injured wife. His wife encouraged Andrew to go with Gran, but she also said they should trust their fate and believe that God would save them. Andrew loved his wife deeply and could not leave her alone. He told his friends that if the village was far away, they should bring help and that he would stay behind to take care of his wife. After that, the others started their journey to the village. Meanwhile, Andrew and his wife waited for help in the wrecked plane. His wife felt hopeless, as if she was waiting for help or death. Wild animals began to approach, but they did not see them yet. Meanwhile, Gran and the others lost their way in the desert. Half a day passed, and they still had not reached the village. They were tired and collapsed from the heat. Gran gave them some water, and they continued toward the nearest mountain. However, they realized they had come a long way only to find more desert ahead. They did not even know the way back, so they were badly stuck. Seeing the chaos, Max grabbed Gran's gun and said, "We are stuck here because of you. We will die soon." He pointed the gun at everyone, demanding they follow his lead. The others wanted to stay with Gran, thinking going back might lead them to their plane. They believed they could find the village by heading in the other direction, so they decided to return while Max went his own way. With great effort, they slowly made their way back to the plane under the scorching sun. When they arrived, they were horrified to see blood everywhere. Andrew and his wife were missing. Claw marks from a lion on the plane made it clear that the lion had hunted and eaten them. They felt sorry for Andrew and his wife, but fear gripped them, realizing the lion could hunt them during the day. They began searching for a way to escape. Suddenly, Andrew appeared, scared and angry. He confronted Gran with a gun, believing Gran was responsible for their situation. In a moment of panic, Andrew shot Gran, but a boy accidentally fired his gun, causing Andrew to stumble back while Gran remained unharmed. As Andrew gathered his belongings, he spotted a lion nearby, which Gran had smuggled. Then Dr. Andrew dug a grave for his wife's body and sat beside it, crying. He apologized for not being able to save her, wishing he had tried harder. A voice told him not to blame himself, reminding him that fate showed what his wife believed in. As night fell, they needed to find a way to survive. They couldn't hear the lion's roar anymore. Gran suggested they stay in the pilot's cabin, where 3 people could hide safely. So they decided to stay in the pilot's cabin. In the toss, Max's friend lost, meaning he would have to sit outside the plane all night. When night came, the boy set fire to the plane and sat outside while the 3 others stayed in the cabin. They told him to stay awake and keep the fire burning because as long as he stayed alert, he would be safe. If he fell asleep, they warned, he could die. Now, they just waited for night to pass, knowing they would head to the village in the morning. As night fell, Grant came out to check on the boy. He saw the boy sleeping, and the fire was out. Grant woke him up, saying, "Wake up, keep the fire going if you want to stay alive." Afterward, Grant returned to the cabin. The sleepy boy fell back asleep, and the fire went out. In the dark, they saw glowing eyes belonging to a lion that had come out of the plane, while the 3 inside listened in fear. Andrew felt sorry for the boy outside and wanted to help him, but too many lions surrounded them, so they couldn't act. Then Andrew opened the cabin door and the lion tried to enter. They all fought together to stop it, but the lion was too strong and began breaking the cabin apart. Suddenly, a snake inside bit the lion. Andrew quickly closed the cabin door and tied a rope around the snake's leg to pull out its venom, saving its life. But the snake was in bad shape. In the morning, when Andrew stepped outside, he noticed his friend was missing. It meant the boy had been hunted by the lions. They decided to go to the village since it was daytime, and danger was less likely. But Andrew had seen so much horror that he lost his courage. He sat by a tree, feeling hopeless, wanting to wait for death. While the others left, they spotted an approaching car. Excited, they shouted for help, but to their shock, it was a terrorist group looking for Americans. They attacked Andrew, accusing him of stealing from them. They told Andrew that he was a smuggler who stole from their land. They accused him of smuggling for America and began to kill Andrew again. Then Grant spoke up and said that the plane and all its stuff belonged to him, and he was the one doing the smuggling. He insisted that Andrew had done nothing wrong. Hearing this, one of the terrorists said, "So Grant, we should kill you instead." The leader asked, "Why should we kill you? Are you a terrorist?" He reminded Grant that they were humans living on this land and deserved respect. The leader thought he could change the terrorist's mind, but then he shot him in the face and proved that they were truly terrorists. They had no mercy on people, and nothing could change that. Afterward, they treated Andrew and the others very badly. One of the terrorists went to get a truck to take them away and continue mistreating them. 2 terrorists stayed behind, and one of them said to Andrew, "Let's make a deal. I will count to 10, and you have to run. After 10, I will shoot. So now, get up and run." But Andrew did not run because he had already lost his courage. There was no point in running for him. The terrorists got angry and began to laugh at Andrew. When the terrorist saw that Andrew had completely lost hope, he sat far away and stared at him for a while. The gun, which Andrew had taken from the terrorist, said, "I am a fighter. I can't die easily." Saying this, Andrew slowly walked towards the terrorist. He tried to take the gun away from him, but the terrorist came to his senses. When he shot the gun, he discovered that it was empty. The second terrorist woke up, and Andrew attempted to control him and snatch the gun. Bullets started firing, and both terrorists ended up dead. Then the gun said to Andrew, "We killed both of them, so now you have to come with me. You need to fulfill your wife's dream, and I need to change. Give me a chance to apologize for my sins. Come with me, and I will help you get to the city, where you can help thousands of patients." So, Andrew agreed to go with him, but the situation was still very bad. As they moved closer to the village, they faced a small mountain of stones they needed to cross. The gun struggled to lift Andrew, but then he saw bloody lions approaching from the mountain, drawn by their scent. While hiding on the mountain, the changing wind and flying birds allowed the lions to pick up their scent and get closer. A scorpion climbed onto Andrew's face and he stayed still. When the scorpion moved back, a stone fell, catching the lion's attention. Thinking there was food above, the lion began climbing. Seeing this, the scorpion covered itself in Andrew's blood and said, "I have done many bad things. I want to wash away my sins. I will sacrifice myself for you to escape. Promise me you will reach the village." The scorpion climbed up and jumped down, and the lion killed it. After witnessing this, Andrew stood up, ready to move toward the village again, despite feeling thirsty and weak. The animals charged at him, but suddenly a loud thunder scared them away. It started raining, and Andrew lay down to drink the rainwater. He quenched his thirst, and then fell unconscious. When Andrew finally opened his eyes, he saw the same companion who had warned him about the terrorists. The companion helped him up, saved his life, and took him away from there. Andrew was now safe, and it seemed that it was his fate to live because he had acted bravely at the last moment. Now he would reach the village, and that is where this story ends.